I got a viewer question today, so I'll be answering that today. It's a fairly lengthy one, so probably gonna be the only video for today. But before I go ahead and answer this question, I need to say something about uh, something that happens with the viewers of my content. So, um, I have quite a few people reach out over DM, and then they're like, "Hey Billy, like you said to reach out," which I do, and so I'm wondering if you can help me with some stuff. And then I'm like, "Of course you can." And then we talk about some stuff, and then they tell me their problems, and I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah." Like, but have you considered this and that? Basically, I coach them, right? And then after that, they're like, "Oh, thank you so much." And then, but the next day they come back, they talk about more problems, which I'm fine with, right? I have the bandwidth and I want to talk to you. That's why I asked these in the first place. But what happens every once in a while is, people come back after not talking for some time, and then they come back and they're like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, I haven't been talking to you, and I hope I hope you're doing okay. I'm so sorry, like I meant to reach out, but." I hope you're, and then another thing is, but I still feel bad, and I hope you're not disappointed in me. And these are things I hear a lot. But that I want to, with this video, I want to reassure you, or assure you, I don't know, depending on how long you've been spending time with me. I want to assure you that there's no way you can disappoint me, because disappointment means I have some kind of expectations on you, right? I don't have any expectations on you. It's different from, like, I'm already very disappointed in you, so like why should I even care about you at all? It's not from that kind of a lens. It's that I trust you. I trust your inner ability to take in the wisdom whenever you can, and then apply it to your life whenever you can. I believe in your timeline. So, even if you don't listen to me, I'm completely fine with it. I'm telling you these things not for you to listen to me. I'm telling you these things so that you can consider them. And if you consider them and it reinforces your existing beliefs, good. Because now you've had some alternatives. If you do change your mind, good. You maybe didn't consider that before. So I am 100% okay with you uh, not taking in the things that I say. And also, I'm 100% okay with you not talking to me after you're basically done using me. It's okay. Like, that's why I offer this. In fact, like, I would hate for you to continue talking to me because it's not really helping, right? So in some sense, the when you stop talking to me, it feels good because it means something worked, and you don't find urgency to talk to like a stranger about your problems anymore, right? And so I want to make you feel safe about asking me questions. There's no way you can disappoint me. There's no way you can upset me. There's no way, like, you're gonna make me feel bad. I'm the one who decides whether I feel bad or not. And I decided that I'm not gonna feel bad because it's silly to feel bad when I could be feeling good all the time, right? So, uh, wanted to start out with that. Now, with that said, the question is about romance. First question is experiencing limerence, why this happens and how to prevent it when you're in it. Second one is, how do you know you're in love and what does love feel like to you? But not like random love, love from another person or even love within yourself. Thirdly, what are your thoughts on romantic rejection? Why does romantic rejection feel so bad and awful, like a stab wound, even when you know there's other better people out there? So, let's talk about these questions one by one. Number one, limerence. I am married for like 10 years, so these types of questions always gets me thinking about like what it's like to kind of like be in that state. But when I was young, around teenage times and early 20s, this term wasn't really readily available. People weren't really talking about this term, so I have a hunch on what it feels like. And what I think is this: like, you like someone, and then you love someone, and then you start thinking about, what if this person did this with me, and then, if this person dressed like this, it'd be really great. And then, so until now, it's like some mild fantasies about this person, about this object of desire, right? I think it crosses the line of limerence when what they do starts disappointing you. what they do, because it differs from your expectations of them, starts conflicting and starts causing suffering for you. That's, I think, when it starts to induce suffering into your life. Now, what you're effectively doing is you're taking this external person that exists and you're creating a replica of this person inside of your mind, and you are, while you are observing this replica, you are thinking that it's still the same object. It's not, right? So you may be seeing me through this YouTube video, and you over time watch my videos and you start forming this identity of me, and like, oh, Billy would probably talk about like it this way, blah blah blah. Maybe I will, maybe I won't, because my life is mine, right? I get to decide what to do with my time, what to do, what to say. But you might you might start forming an identity of Billy inside of you, which is okay, right? In fact, so many of the people I talk to are like, but I reflected on what would Billy say, and then I got, like, okay, so that happens. But when the things that I do start disappointing you because it doesn't align with the image of me I have in your mind, that is, I think, when it crosses the line of limerence. So, why does it happen? It happens because your mind is obsessing over it. Like this object of desire, you continue to ascribe more and more meaning into it. So, for example, the TV show Community had a great bit about it. Like, I could break this pen and it wouldn't feel like anything. But then if I call this pen Jeff and then I snap it, it feels like Jeff the pen has died, right? So we have an ability to empathize with anything. But what do we typically empathize with? What do we ascribe meaning to? The things that we really cherish, the things that mean something to us, right? And the more and more and more something means something, the more and more and more meaning we ascribe to it. And when this intensifies, what kind of meaning do we ascribe to it more and more? We tend to personify this more and more and more. Because that is the human tendency. We keep thinking that this has the more meaning you ascribe to it, the more we want to make it something that we can interact with, right? And so personifying and like a humanifying, giving it personality and things like that, like God giving life to Adam and Eve, right? That's what we do with the objects that we attach a lot of meaning to. But the nice thing about pens is pens don't really disappoint us because pens don't really have free will, right? But human beings have free will, and regardless of what I think about you, you may act differently, right? And that's okay, as long as I understand and accept that you're a free person. You can do whatever you want, because I'm a free person. I get to do whatever I want, and because you and I are both people, nothing makes me special over you. Nothing makes you special over me. We have to assume that we're kind of living the same kind of life, right? Okay, so how do we prevent it when you're in it? Well, you prevent it by recognizing, oh, I'm being silly, right? So this is a classic case of something that provides no value to your life, right? So when you sit down and you feel bad, but you could feel not bad, right? Over something silly, right? Like not something deeply related to your personhood or whatever, right? But suppose like someone cut you off in traffic, like, and then you kind of got jolted, but then there's more to life than traffic, right? And so you could choose to linger about it, and then again you ascribe more and more meaning to it, right? Like, this person probably a mega bitch, right? And probably has a small dick, and probably drives like a maniac because his life is so fucking unhappy, and probably like a miserable person, dropped as a baby, blah blah blah. You can continue to go down this rabbit hole. You can continue to participate in it, but you see, the more you do that, it doesn't affect the other driver at all. It just affects you. It's like hating another person or ascribing meaning to another person and then getting disappointed. It all just fucks you up. It has nothing to. It has no effect on the other party. That is the silly part you have to recognize, right? So, oh, I'm harming myself for no reason. So, I gotta start attributing meaning to other, like, things that I enjoy in life. I need to context switch. I need to get off of my seat, go for a walk. I need to eat something. I need to shower, and then do all these things that can change your mood, right? So, gotta recognize when you're in it, but it's okay. Like sometimes you spend hours daydreaming, and then you recognize it's fine as long as you continue the exercise of recognizing. The more you do it, the time span will shorten. Like the time that you spend catching up will shorten, and when eventually there's gonna come a point where you catch yourself mid-limerence. And as long as you keep continuing, you're gonna eventually catch yourself pre-limerence, and you can stop right there. Okay, that's the first question. Second one, how do you know you're in love, and what does love feel like to you? Love is basically, you're not gonna like this answer, but love is basically acknowledging for something for what it is, without expecting that it changes to fit your needs, right? Loving is just simply recognizing, hey, you exist, and just the way you are, I fully accept and acknowledge you. Whatever's added on top of that is just like being nice, or you're obsessing over them, or whatever. It's like extra something on top. It's like pancakes, but with maple syrup on top. Pancake is a pancake, right? Whatever you put on top is a topping. So just like that, what makes a pancake pancake is what makes love love. Love is just acknowledging something and accepting it for what it is. So, if I am like, you're a really good viewer, if but I would love it if you just asked better questions. That's not love, right? I'm not accepting you for who you are. I wish you are something different than you are. That's not love. So, at the base level, that's love. But, you may be telling me something about your life, and then you may be, having a really tough time. Now, I can love you, but at the same time, I'm free to do whatever with my time, right? I don't really have an obligation to listen to you. I don't really have an obligation to, meet your needs. It's fine to love someone and live your life separately from that love. And then you might be thinking, then what is, spending time with them? What is like being good to another person? Then that's just simply goodwill. Now, goodwill, different from ill will, is like it's an extra thing that you do on top of the base thing, right? So, when there's a homeless person asking for food, I don't have to feed them. But when I go out of my way to do so, I'm doing something of goodwill, right? When there's a homeless person asking for food, I don't need to go out of my way and punch them. But when I do, I went out of my way and became a bad person. I exercised ill will, right? So whatever you do for other people that's not required, it's just simply goodwill. And goodwill may be it's kind of hard to discern from external perspective, right? I may be doing something good to you because it benefits me, but you just don't know it. So in that case, I'm doing you good, but at the same time, I'm serving me, which is okay. There's nothing bad. There's nothing wrong with fundamentally like a transactional relationship. In fact, many of relationships, like pretty much 90% of relationships, I think, are transactional. But the same kind of being good also may be an extension of love, right? I love you, and on top of that, I exercise goodwill onto you. But it's kind of hard to tell what other people do to you, whether it's like from clean will or not. But it's not really up to you as well, right? They are doing whatever they want to do. All you can think about is what you're gonna do in response, right? So suppose I'm answering this, your questions in a 15-minute video, and then now I'm like, okay, so now that I answered your question, can you, and if it helped you, can you, like, give me $1,000? Like, I could totally ask that, right? Because, like, I have free will and I can. But you're not really obligated to pay me $1,000, like, because, like, again, that's up to your free will, right? So, understand that you have a lot of power. Understand that whatever other people do is up to them. And if you want to receive their goodwill, good. But you don't have to receive goodwill from other people. And love is simply just like acknowledging and accepting a person for who they are, how they are today, without them needing to change, right? Um, so it's like, oh yeah, I would totally love you if you lost some weight. Nothing like that. I love you even if you're like 1,000 pounds. That's like love, right? I accept you. Like, I understand that you have life circumstances that make you want to do that, and that's okay because I am not the person who lives your life. You are, and that kind of trust and that kind of recognition as another human being living on this earth, that is fundamentally love. How I interpret it. Uh, what are your thoughts on romantic rejection? Why does romantic rejection feel so bad and awful like a stab wound, even when you know there are other better people out there? Number one, because you're obsessed. Number two, I in the previous question I answered that 90, like, basically most relationships are transactional by nature. But when I reach out to you, for money, I want money from you, and then like, maybe a deal goes through, maybe it doesn't, right? Then like, that's the end of our relationship, and whatever I think of you based on that transaction is limited to that transaction, right? So, uh, suppose you draw, and then I want to buy your painting. And then I actually took a look at your painting, and I'm like, I don't really like that. And then, okay, good. So, like, what happened here? What happened is that I don't like it. Like, it's just a matter of taste, right? But you could take that as your art fucking sucks, right? And I'm not gonna pay money for this, like, really stupid art, right? You could interpret it this way. But when you interpret it that way, although it hurts, it's kind of separate from you. It's this thing that you created. It's this object that's outside of yourself, right? And when you have a, like, suppose you went to some, college A, and then you have a job interview, and like, oh, you only went to college A, and your GPA is that, okay, like, we don't want to hire you. Suppose they did that. First of all, sue them. Secondly, like, again, they're looking at something that's kind of outside of you, right? Like, your college is not really, I mean, it is partly related, but it's not your entire personhood, right? Same with your GPA, same with your test score, same with your major, blah blah blah. It's a part of you that is on the chopping block or like the auction block, right? When it comes to romance, you can't help but feel like it is related to the entirety of you, right? When someone doesn't like my art, they don't like my art. When someone doesn't like my coaching, they don't like my coaching. But when I get romantically rejected, they hate my entire personhood. Because why else but because I fucking suck, right? That's where the mind goes to. That's why it hurts so much. Your entire being feels like it's rejected. But in the same vein as the earlier example about art, it's just a matter of taste. People are allowed to like different things. So, if I don't like you, it's me problem. It has nothing to do with you, right? If I like you, it's a me liking you thing. It has nothing to do with you, right? So, it's hard to see relationships this way because, again, transactional relationships are always kind of the default, and romance is no exception. But romance has no external target to attach to other than you, right? So that's why it feels bad. But we gotta recognize that you are who you are. And if people like it, good. If people don't like it, also good. Because, I mean, have you spent time with people who don't like you? It's horrible, right? they know they don't like you, so they're gonna move out of their way, and that's fine. But what if I want them? That's it's just too bad, right? You may like them, but they don't. But and that's okay, right? I love the movie, Zootopia, but Zootopia doesn't love me because it's a movie. It's fine because I love Zootopia, and that's okay, right? Uh, but I want Zootopia to love me back. Okay, that's when it comes down to I want to control things that are outside of my control, right? Gotta recognize that this is a foolish desire that is just making me suffer, and that's also fine because going through experiences like that give you future wisdom, so you can move about your life in a more suffering-free kind of a way. Turned out to be a long video, but there were lots of questions and a lot of things that we discussed about it, and so I hope this helps, and if it doesn't, please let me know and I'll be happy to explain more things in more detail.